Okay, I think we have already discussed which topic we have already discussed. That was yeah, terminology, and now we have to study methods of payment in this lecture, and then we'll also do some MCQs. Then after that, we'll do some uh, we'll discuss something about petty cash, and after that, a little bit MCQs. Okay, so let me start from here. Methods of payment. Let's discuss from here. Methods of payment. And business. Clear? So the first method which is well known, and that is called cash payment. Clear? And cash payment, the cash payment actually involve using a physical currency. This involve usually using a physical currency. By physical currency we means notes or coins. Clear? Now, what are the benefits of the cash payment? What are the benefit of cash payment? So I will say advantage. The first one, immediate transaction completion. Once you pay, the transaction complete. You'll pay for the product, and you'll get the product at the same time. So there is immediate transaction completion. So I will say immediate transaction completion. This is the first advantage of cash payment. The second one is there is no reliance on electronic system. So there is no reliance on electronic system like that of the debit card and credit card. And now what are the disadvantage of cash payment? So the first one, there is a risk of theft or loss. So there's a risk of theft or loss. You may lose the money, or someone, there is a thief. So this is the disadvantage. If you have money in your hand, and definitely there is a risk that that maybe theft, or there are some maybe you lost the money. Another one is it is very difficult for tracking a transaction. It's very difficulty in tracking transaction. And if you do expenses and you pay for that expenses in cash, then it will be very difficult for you to track that transaction. Okay, for example, you just went to the grocery store and you purchase something, then definitely you're paying for the grocery with a cash at a local store. So this is the cash payment. Okay, I think this is more than clear. Now let's move on. We have another concept, and that is wait a minute here. Okay, another one we have here is that we call debit card or credit card, or you may say electronic payment method. Electronic payment method. This is the second method through which you can pay for the thing you are purchasing. Clear? So in this method, in this method you are using a plastic card and that card linked to the bank account or credit line. So you are using just a plastic card, and that we call credit card or debit card, and that card is linked with a bank account or credit line. So we call that debit card or credit card. And if you are paying through this debit card and credit card, the plastic card, then we call that electronic payment method. Clear? Now, what are the advantages of the using the electronic payment method? The first one, it is more convenient and widely accepted method. It will be, I'll say, convenient and widely accepted. Usually, when you people are paying for ACCA annual subscription or for paper payment, then you are just using that method, debit card, or you can say like electronic payment method. Okay. Now the second the second advantage of this method, it is this enhanced security. There is no risk of losing the money because the money is inside the bank and you're just using the link card, debit card, credit card. And there's it's why it's secure, because there is a chip and there is a pin when you are using this card. Clear? So this will enhance the security. The third advantage of this debit card or credit card or plastic card is you will be able to track your expenses. So the ability to track expenses is the ability to track expenses. So that means that you will be able to track expenses. That let's say you are paying for ACCA annual subscription, then after 1 year you will know that okay, you paid this amount for the annual subscription to the ACCA. Clear? Now what are the drawbacks? Let's discuss about drawbacks. Okay, fine, let me show you here. Okay, here now you see drawback of this method. Drawbacks. So the first one drawback of this thing, this method is transaction fee. It will be very costly for you. If you are using debit card or credit card, then the bank will deduct some amount, and that we call transaction fees. And whenever you do some transaction, let's say you pay for ACCA exam fees, like per paper, per annual subscription, then there is also a transaction fee. For every transaction you have to pay to the that particular bank. So the first drawback is transaction fees for business. Okay, whenever you do transaction through debit card or credit card, then you have to pay the transaction fee. The second thing is dependency. You will be dependent on the technology, because debit card and credit card are just used because of they are dependent on the technology. Without technology you cannot use this this way of method. So when you just went to the restaurant, let's say you went to the restaurant and you want to settle the bill, then definitely you swipe the debit card and definitely you pay there. So this is the more convenient way that you pay the amount. You don't need to carry a money and in your wallet. So but you just tag your card with yourself and then settle the payment whatever you want to pay. So this is the second method. Now the third method, which is I think going to be apps. Okay, we are here. This one. The third method is check method, check payment, which is going to be obsolete with the passage of time. So in this method, you just actually check are actually a written orders to pay a specified amount from one account to another. So in this method, you are just there's a check, and the check you write some amount, and then that amount the check will you take a check and just deposit in the bank, and then you'll get a money. And what are the advantages and disadvantages of this method? Let me talk about that a little bit. What are the disadvantages? Okay, uh, let me write here. Check or written orders to pay a specified amount. Clear? From one account to another. Clear? Now, what are the advantage and disadvantage of this method? The advantage, let's talk about advantages. Advantages. This is a formal and traceable method. Is formal and traceable. Second advantage of this method is suitable for larger transactions. Suitable for larger transaction. Let's say you're paying in millions, so definitely use this method. Now, what are the disadvantage of this method? If you are using check, then what will be the disadvantage for you? And here, this will be the demerits. Okay, the first one is processing time, like clearance and verification is too much. Okay, it will take too much time to process. So this will be the processing time, I mean the clearance and verification. So it will take too much time. If you need the thing in emergency, then it will be problematic for you. The second thing, the check is declined popularity due to the digital alternatives. So it will be saying like that, decline popularity due to digital alternative. I'll say alternative, like debit card and credit card. So we don't need now check. Clear? For example, you're writing a check to pay a rent. So now this process is this method is a little bit declined, because there's a digital method. You don't need to give a check to someone for payment of that rent. You have to just there's some automated receipt and payment method. Now that will be our fourth method, that is card automated receipt and payment. Receipt and payment. Clear? Okay, in this method, automated process managed through business bank account. Automated process managed through business bank accounts. So this process actually include this process include automated process manage through business bank accounts. Clear? Now what are the advantage and disadvantage of this method? So the advantage, the first one, and the first one advantage of this method is you know, advantage is consistency and predictability. And the second one is reduce administrative efforts. Okay, and you know what are the example of this method? We have two method. We have to, let's me explain two method, two example. Examples. The first one is standing order. You know standing order. Standing order. This is the automated receipt and payment method. Okay, how standing order mean if you are just paying a regular fixed amount monthly, let's say monthly rent, then you can use for standing method. Like you know, if you have regular fixed payment, okay, for example monthly rent, then you are using the standing order. Okay, and that is the automated receipt and payment method. Another one is direct debit, and that is also automated receipt and payment method. This is, you know, automatic deduction for bills. If you are paying bills like it's utility, like utility payment, so you are using the direct debit method. Okay, now what are the drawback of this automated receipt and payment method? Drawbacks. The first drawback is, you know, limited flexibility for ad hoc payment. There is a limited flexibility for ad hoc payment. The second drawback is, you know, it require proper setup and monitoring. You know, this require proper setup and monitoring. Clear? For example, setting up a standing order to pay employee salary, so that will be your automated payment. Clear? And this will need a proper setup and monitoring. So if there's no proper setup and monitoring, then definitely maybe there is a chance that you pay more money to one employee and less money to another employee. Clear? Okay, let's move on, and we have to discuss the book stock. Where it is? Okay, here I think we have discussed in detail. Okay, payment method. You see, this is a payment method. You need to know about the different method of receiving payment from customer or making payment to supplier. So you may be receive the money, or you may be paying the money to the supplier. Four common methods of receiving payment and making payment are used in many business. The first one is cash, which we have discussed in very detail, that involves note and coins. Then another method that was called debit and credit card is an electronic payment method. That is a plastic card we are using. The third one is payment by check. The fourth one is automated receipt payment through business bank account. Example of standing order and direct debit. Okay, and receiving and making payment for these terms should be described in the later chapter. So we will discuss this in a later chapter very well. Okay, now let's move on. We have to discuss some MCQs. The first MCQs, okay, the first MCQs here is, let me change the color so it will be white. Okay, here the first MCQs, which payment method involve using currency notes? So we know that is cash payment method because we are using a physical currency. Clear? Cash payment method refer to transaction made using a physical currency, notes and coins at immediate completion, and that is the advantage, but has a risk of theft and loss. This is the disadvantage of this method. What is the drawback of check method? So we have already discussed the drawbacks of the check method. That what are the drawbacks of check method? We know that it's it's time consuming because processing time and clearance and verification. So check require time for verification and clearance, which can delay transaction. Clear? So this is the drawback, and that option is, I think there is option, this one, C. Which method allow automatic deduction per bill such as utility payment? And we have discussed that is direct debit method. And direct debit method, the amount directly deducted from the fund. Clear? For a recurring bill. Now the fourth MCQs is, what advantage do debit and credit card offer? What are the advantages of debit and credit? We know that it enhance security because of chip and pin. Clear? So debit and credit card provides security feature like chip and pin. Clear? Now which method involves automated process managed through business bank account, and that is called automated receipt and payment method. We have discussed this in a very detail. Now let's move on. We have another topic that is called petty cash. Okay, we'll discuss this in the next lecture. Thank you for watching.